I've been in the commercial real estate brokerage business for over 20 years, and I've seen a lot of agents come and go. I've seen new agents that get in, get frustrated, end up quitting after just a few months, and I've seen experienced agents with 2, 3, 4 years of experience that just get frustrated because they're not building the life that they want to build. Today I'm going to show you how to get ahead of 99% of commercial real estate agents, and surprisingly, it's a very straightforward path. So I'm going to show you how to excel and how to stand out from the crowd in this video. Let's start with number one on the list. That's identify your market. This is critical, especially if you're going to be new to the market. You want to make sure you're getting to a marketplace that's going to have enough activity that you're going to be able to get a great return on your investment of your time. So a lot of people would just say, you know what, I like retail. So they just decide to do retail in an area. Well, this is what I want you to do. If you're going to decide to do retail, this is really what you want to do. I want you to think about a location near your office or your home or someplace in between that is an area that you're familiar with, and go look at the retail activity in that marketplace. Make sure that there's plenty of activity going on for you to get the return on investment of your time. Make sure the price per square foot is something that's going to give you the return that you really need. Really break it down so you know that the marketplace you're going in, there's plenty of activity for you to really take over that marketplace. Now, one thing that I was talking to an agent recently, and he was an office broker that we were actually recruiting, and I asked him, I said, what's your marketplace? And he goes, LA. I said, okay, yeah, I understand that you're in LA, but where in LA? He goes, no, LA, the entire city of LA. And so way too big of a marketplace. Think about bringing it down. So I don't want to say bite-sized, but enough that you can really get your arms around it and become the person that everybody wants to go to in that marketplace to do their retail or whatever asset class you're going to be doing. Make sure you're the person they're going to want to be calling. And it's not that hard. All right, so now we've chosen our market. Now what do you do next? You want to master that market before you even think about getting on the phones. So much of your competition is so eager to get making money, they just jump on the phones right away. And that's a mistake. And I'll tell you why. Because if you know your market better than anybody else and you get somebody that picks up the phone, you're talking to them, you're going to have a lot more to talk about what's going on in that community or in that market. And that's going to be something that's going to generate you a lot more business. So I want you to do, let's say you're doing apartment buildings in a community. I want you to go break it down. You want to know how many properties are on the market. Average days on market, list price, sales price, size of buildings, all that information before you pick up the phone. Now, another thing, I want you to get involved in the community. If there's a community fair going on, I want you to get out there and get to know everybody you can. Cold call that area. Having this community information is going to give you a much more leg up on anybody else in your marketplace. Now that you've mastered your market, let's make sure that everybody knows that you're the expert in that area. Now, I want you to embrace digital marketing. I'm a big proponent of cold calling. Make sure that it's something that you're always going to have part of your marketing program is cold calling. Very important. But creating content for digital marketing, you know how few commercial real estate agents are actually doing this? This can put you so far ahead. You don't need to be on every platform. Pick 2 platforms. Maybe it's Instagram and LinkedIn, or YouTube and LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a big one that you're going to find that there's a lot of business. Been a lot of activity lately, especially. So make sure you're creating content at least 2, 3, 4 days a week. There are pillars that you can create if you're, it's a little daunting to come up with content every day. So there's 3 pillars that you can think about doing. One is personal branding. Let people get to know who you are as a person. Then another pillar is talking about your marketplace. And a third one is talking about the asset class that you're working in. So if it's apartment buildings, then make sure you put a lot of content about multifamily investing in your marketplace. So those 3 pillars are going to really help you get started. I highly suggest you write blogs and articles for real estate publications. Try and get them published as much as you can. Now, if you have a website and you post a blog on there regularly, do you know that it'll grow the amount of people that come to your website by 45% by regularly posting on there? So make sure that you're creating content for that, and this is really going to help you get ahead of any of your competition. So we just wrapped up talking about digital marketing, but I kind of want to stay on the tech side of it because I want to make sure you adopt all the right commercial real estate tech tools, starting with a solid CRM. we work so hard to gather all this data in the marketplace, and we just kind of write it down or throw it in our system. When you have a good CRM, I want you to put everything in that CRM. Every conversation you had, if there's a birthday, a dog's birthday, it's anything that you have a reason to reach out to a client, put that in your CRM, and that way you can stay in touch with them, or it gives you a reason to stay in touch with them. Now, as far as communication tools, if you have a team, something like Slack, very powerful, allows your team to communicate very well. There was a stat that I read in an article the other day, and it said that top producers use their commercial real estate tech 2 times more than your average agent. So obviously it's working for them, and it should work for you too. Make sure you adopt your commercial real estate tech tools. Stay on top of them, study them, find them, utilize them. So the next one is be responsive. Now, I say responsive, I mean to your clients as well as your leads. You do so much work to get these clients and to get these leads to call you, and then being non-responsive, not a good way to do business. So you can't believe the number of clients that I talk to around the country that say, I'll ask them, what was the biggest problem with your agent that you just had? Why are you looking for another agent? They'll say, well, that agent was non-responsive. They didn't call me back in a timely manner. There's just a list of them. And I don't understand, if you've done all this work to bring in this client, why you aren't being responsive. I get that you don't want to give them bad news, but sometimes that's better than losing the listing. So be responsive to your client. Now, being responsive to your potential new clients, your leads, I just want to read you these numbers, and that will speak for itself because this is pretty substantial. Responding within the first 5 minutes makes you 21 times more likely to turn a lead into a sales opportunity compared to responding after 30 minutes. Contacting a lead within the first minute can boost lead conversions by an impressive 391%. That's huge. The chance of qualifying a lead drops by 80% after the first 5 minutes. So the sooner you can do it, the better off you are. Now, if you're in a meeting and you can have one of your team reach out to them and say, listen, I'm going to call you back at this time, just make sure somebody responds to them. Be responsive. All right, so now let's talk about the core of your business, and that's your email database. This is so very important because you want to be doing emails every 17 to 19 days out to your client base. Now, make sure that every time you do an email that it does bring value. Otherwise, people are just going to unsubscribe from you. So make sure that is also broken down by, if you're going to be emailing developers get those emails. Brokers get these emails. Potential tenants get these emails. Existing clients get these emails. Make sure it's very structured in your database so you're getting the right people, get the right emails. Otherwise, you're going to get unsubscribed. I know that we get going kind of fast sometimes. We just want to get this information into our database, but take the time to make sure you structure your database properly, and you're going to find you're going to get a lot more return on your investment in that database. All right, we want to make sure that when networking, we network strategically. We just don't go willy-nilly about our networking. This is going to save you a lot of time. Obviously, you should be attending all the industry events, right? You want to do that. But you maybe don't need to hit all of them, but you should be hitting as many as you can. But when you're out there networking, I want you to think about what's the end game. Who should you be networking with? Maybe if you're an investment person, you want to be talking to CPAs. Business managers, those kind of people. Think about where is the best return for my time and who should I be talking to, and really focus on meeting those people. All right, so the next one is maintain consistency, and the way that I find is best to do that is a daily structure. And I want you to really think about your daily structure. So I'm going to give you an example. Now, if you're doing retail tenant, then what you probably not going to be good calling before 10 o'clock in the morning. So obviously you move that from 10 to noon or into the afternoon. So be very smart about how you're setting your daily structure up. I'll tell you what I did when I was doing investment sales. From 8:30 to 11 would be cold calling. From 11 to 12, I'd be returning cold calls. Obviously, then there's lunch. And then after lunch, I go back to cold calling for a while. And then I'd be responding to emails. And then at the end of the day, I'd be responding to calls. So that structure worked very good for me. And I highly recommend you create that structure so you too can get ahead in our industry. All right, the next segment is deliver exceptional value. We work so hard to find these clients, and I've said this several times in this video, but you can't say it enough, it costs you. If you figure your time, effort, and money into everything you do to get a good client, if you could just bring them value, be responsive, they're going to refer you business. They're going to give you more of their own business. So really be thinking about it and stay in touch with them. I was just talking to an agent this morning, and he goes, listen, I want to reach it back out to a couple of clients I did investment sales with a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago actually. And he said, I don't know how to just randomly reach back out to them. I said, well, do a broker price opinion for them on each one of their properties, because everybody loves to receive an update on their property value, right? Send it to them. Do a follow-up call this afternoon. Hey, did you get the BPO that I sent to you this morning? And by the way, how's everything going? Do you know anybody doing anything in real estate? Maybe I could help them as well. So make sure you give exceptional value to every client, and then their in turn should give you more business and refer you more business. All right, the next one we've heard throughout our entire life: commit to lifelong learning for our industry. Actually, this works in life too, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do, because I'm a firm believer that you need to stay on top of what's going on in your market, as well as across the United States, or actually in another country as well, around the globe. When I get up in the morning, I make my coffee. I sit down, I look CoStar News, Globe Street, Yahoo News, Finance News that is, QSR Magazine, FSR Magazine, Plain Vanilla Shell. You know, once they update every day, it doesn't take that long. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. But I find that I have conversations throughout the day from those publications I read in the morning. So I want you to really think about reading publications for your market and your industry every morning before you even start your day. It's going to give you some great talking points. Now, this is typically where I say, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. But I'm going to ask you to do something for me here, because we're really focused on building a community of commercial real estate, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is build a community. So if you have questions about anything we talked about or anything in the industry, I'm going to try and get an answer for you. And I want you to think about this. If you have a question about something in our industry, most likely somebody else has the same question. So I ask you to please put that question in the comments below. We will get it answered. It might not just be me. Somebody else that's watching this video might answer your question well, or give us some ideas on how to answer it. So please put your comments below, and please do like and subscribe.